This is for you men out there that are watching. This is the kind of shit that you think that you're putting their mom through, but it's the kids that are suffering in the end. It's the kids. And that's important to put out there because a lot of times we think, oh, we're not going to pay. We're going to show them. Oh, we're not going to show up for the kids. Fuck the kids. I'm going to show the mom by not showing up. But you're not hurting the mom. You're hurting the kids.
Welcome to Fatherhood Voices, breaking the toxic cycle. Dive in as real dads bear all, the mess ups, make ups, and every heartfelt moment in between. It's raw, it's real, and it might just change the way you see family.
Welcome to another episode of Fatherhood Voices. Now, today I have some very special guests, and it's a family empire car club based out of Lancaster.
Yes, Lancaster, California.
Awesome. Now, I met them at a car show event just in the last couple of weeks ago in the Inland Empire. And what struck me is I see this gang of women, okay? And when I say gang, I'm being funny. I see
Yeah.
these women walking and they have their shirts on and their uniform. And I'm like, oh, shoot, Family Empire Car Club. That's pretty cool. Are you guys the wives and the girlfriends of the car club, people? Say, no, wait a minute. Hold on. No, this is our car club. We're woman based. I'm like, oh shit. Okay, I got to hear this story because, a big part of our audience is women. And I want to hear the story of how it came to be because one of the big things, I've been going to a lot of car shows and different events to talk to a lot of these men that are struggling because they're still stuck in their old ways, and I can relate because I was there. Also, unfortunately, participated in gang life, back in my teens. But as I've started to talk to these different clubs and so forth, I realized that, man, there's so much more to it. It's about family. It's about connection. It's about, I'm going to even say loyalty. And when I saw the Family Empire Car Club, I'm like, okay, I got to find out more because this piqued my curiosity. So I'm going to start with the president, and that's Chingona. So, which is kick ass in Spanish.
Yeah.
But go introduce yourselves, introduce your crew, and yeah, we'll kick it off from there.
Okay. So my name is Gina. I am president of the Park Club. This is Lupe, secretary. My daughter, Lori, she's the vice president. This is my daughter right here. And then this is Linda. She's our media person.
Nice.
And anything that we need that day, she's our little secretary to the secretary.
I love that. So you guys are very organized and very structured.
Yeah.
So Family Empire Car Club. So first question I have is, where did the name come from? Because right off the bat, when it says Family Empire, that just struck a chord with me because, this podcast is about healing families. And I saw that. I'm like, whoa, I did a double take. Like, hold on. Can I talk to you for a minute?
So we started 6 years ago, and it actually started with the book Family and Friends. We actually voted on the name. It was funny because we couldn't decide. It was family something. We just couldn't decide what the second part of the name would be. So we actually, everyone wrote, everyone was given an opportunity to jot down a name. We picked it out, and it so happened that Empire was the second part, but we for sure wanted family involved because it was a close circle of friends and family.
Now, when you guys first started, so the name came through a vote, and family was definitely a big component. So, why was the word family so important when you guys started putting this car club together for your friends and family? Why family?
Even though there were friends involved, we've always seen each other as family. We've always, like she's my comadre. Um, Everyone here is close. We've known each other for a lot of years, 20 plus years. And we basically grew up together, have done family events together. Our kids grew up together. So um, we just felt like that was a special name and it had a lot of meaning uh, to us.
Wow. And then, so have you guys? You all grew up in the Lancaster Palmdale area, or
No.
just moved out there?
We moved out here to get away from everything. Actually, it was very cheap on here when we first moved out here. And I actually moved out from the valley to Lancaster. I was going through a phase where I wasn't doing good, and I just had to get away from that circle of friends that, that I was around.
It's funny that you bring that up. When you say the area, I know very well because I've done real estate for the last 25 years, and I sold a lot of homes in the area because at one time it was cost effective. Now it's skyrocketed, just like the high desert and so forth. But you said that you moved to get away from things, and a lot of times that's a solution to be able to just disconnect from bad influences, bad habits, or circles. Um, what finally made you what finally made it possible, or that you decided, like, you know what, enough's enough. I need to move away to get, and then if you don't mind sharing, maybe a little bit of what you were getting away from, and you don't have to if you don't want to, but
I know I'm okay with talking about it. I was going through drugs. I had lost my kids due to drugs. And so I had a DCFS case open with their dad. Their dad actually took custody of them. He didn't take custody of them for the right reasons. It was more like economical, So it was kind of getting back at me to hurt me for whatever, went through in our relationship. And my kids suffered a lot, and I am at fault because, I did put myself in that situation and I didn't know how to cope with it. So obviously, first thing was, oh, and my friends are around and, oh, we're going to drink. And then we started getting high. And, the accusations now were real because I was like, well, if I'm not getting my kids back, then, F it. I'm going to do whatever I want. And that's how I felt. I felt, super depressed. Sorry. But
okay.
that was like the only thing that I knew was there at reach and it would numb like everything that I was going through at that moment. And I did it for a couple of years. Um I sold drugs, smoked it, did whatever, and then finally I met my ex-husband, second ex-husband, and we actually were getting high together, and I finally got tired of it, and he got tired of it, and he's like, "This isn't life. All the money that we were making was just going. We're using it for drugs and rent, and that was it." And so he's like, "We really need to fight the kids. These aren't step kids." But, and I did everything that DTFS wanted me to do. They wanted me to do counseling. They wanted me to do um, AA, NA, and I did everything I had to. And I just felt like I was spiraling down instead of getting out of that hole. And, you know, one person against DCFS, it felt like I was not getting anywhere. So I did have that I don't give a shit attitude because I felt like I was never going to win with them. And so anyway, he's like, we just need to get away from all this around us. And it was hard because it's that one scary step, like, okay, what if I go over there and I fail even worse? I don't know anyone. And I mean, we made take that step and it was like the best thing ever.
Wow.
Mhm.
You said so many powerful things that I'm gonna touch back on, and then I'm gonna just hit on a question too, and then I'm gonna go to the next person, to your secretary. But I am gonna want to come back to it. But the first thing that resonates with me is to know that because your children's father chose to fight you to take custody of the kids for economic reasons, it just shows. Mm. Sorry, this just hits me. Uh, and then this is for you men out there that are watching. This is the kind of shit that you think that you're putting their mom through, but it's the kids that are suffering in the end. It's the kids. And that's important to put out there because a lot of times we think, oh, we're not going to pay. We're going to show them. Oh, we're not going to show up for the kids. Fuck the kids. I'm going to show the mom by not showing up. But you're not hurting the mom. You're hurting the kids. And then you wonder why this generation repeats itself, this ancestral lineage of abandonment, and why wasn't I good enough, and why wasn't I worthy, and all this shit. And then it falls into the same cycle. And then they go through the system. And this needs to stop. This needs to stop. And this is something I'm very passionate about is that men need to step up and be fucking men already and have some fucking balls. If you're, big bad enough to go represent your fucking neighborhood and go fucking slang drugs and go, talk a big game, then fucking step up and be a man for your kid. And I'm sorry if this pisses you off, but the most important job in the world, other than being a mother, is being a fucking father. So you need to stand up. And I just need to say that because this is a constant cycle that repeats itself over and over again. And I can talk this shit because I was a piece of shit father. Okay. I wasn't there for my kids. I was out partying and chasing women and doing all that shit. So um, I can sit here and dish it out because I will be the first one to admit that I wasn't a good father. I was not a good father. And I own it. And I live with now the struggles of healing my relationship with my girls. And it's a work in progress. And I just said this not too long ago. I don't know if I'm going to be able to heal the relationship in this lifetime, but I'll be damned. I'm going to do everything I can to try to heal that relationship. So sorry I went off on tangent, but that hits a chord with me. That hits a chord with me. And we're gonna come back to that. But I want to tell you that I'm proud of you. If nobody's told you that lately, for finding that initiative, regardless, your journey was your journey, but for finally saying enough is enough. And I'll tell you, I don't know what happened with your ex-husband, but that takes a man to step in and say, hey, my kids, stepkids, no, my kids at the time, we're going to step in and we're going to get out of this environment. So that takes a real man to step up and say, I'm going to not only take care of you, but your kids who really are my kids. There's no separation. There's no separation. A lot of people say that, oh, you're only family of your blood. No, I think you're family when there's loyalty.
Sure.
So, but I'm sorry. Let me get off my tangent here. So,
You know,
death threats I'm going to get now. So,
laughing because you know what? A lot of, but I'm not going to bash the Simon, but because there are piece of shit women out there, you know what I mean? I know it. I know a couple. And so it goes both ways, you know what I mean? And, but for a man to actually have balls to say that, I give you props because it's very hard for a man to even admit or even want to talk about it, It's always, you were the one at fault. You were the one that did this. Look at how kids are now. And it's like, okay, there was two here. Like, we both did this. At least in my situation, it was both of us that screwed our kids up. And it's so true what you said about a whole circle comes back. It did come and it bit me right in the ass. Now my daughter's going through the same thing. And guess who's behind all that? Her dad again. Now he's hurting grandkids, and it's a circle. So it's like we need to learn where to like snip it already because like you already hurt me, you already hurt your kids, and then here we go now hurting your grandkids. And it's like, where are they gonna stop? Like, why is this triggering you so much? You know what I mean? Like, what is possibly hurting you so bad that now you want to hurt your kids, you know?
and I'm going to challenge you to look at, the father of your kids. And I bet you, I just bet you that it all goes back to his inner child. That little boy that was hurt, that little boy that whatever he's inflicting now, it happened to him. And it's just that cycle that repeats itself. And it takes someone to finally step up and break that cycle. And maybe it's going to be your kids or your grandkids that are going to finally say, we're going to put some boundaries in place that we can still love you, but we're going to love you from a distance. And that's okay to do too. You can love some from a distance, but know that you don't want that toxicity in your lives until something changes, whatever that is. But only you guys know what's right for your family. But that's the one thing that I do preach on, and that's setting up boundaries. And that's boundaries to protect yourself. And when I say protect yourself, I don't even mean physically. I'm talking about emotionally and psychologically, because I honestly feel that the emotional pain that I put on my kids psychologically and emotionally was worse than the beating, was a lot worse because the beating, oh, the pain went away after a couple hours,
Oh, yeah.
but the trauma and the emotions, no, it now passed on into their relationships. It passed on to their friendships. It passed on into every part of their life. So, okay. So how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
So, how did you end up out in Lancaster? Where you originally from? From the Valley also?
Yeah, like I was born and raised right.
Okay.
My mom was in a and my dad was a doctor.
Okay. And then, how was childhood for you? What was it like?
Well, I didn't have my dad around with most of my childhood. I knew him more as an adult. I think literally I've seen my dad maybe like certain times. He's no longer here, so I didn't get to spend more time with him. But my mom, like my mom, basically, but I can't blame my dad for not being in my life because my mom didn't let my dad be. So
Mhm.
one of those ones that kept me apart from him. What that's maybe further. I think I met him when I was like, well, I didn't really have like a really small connection to him, but I did have a challenge.
I have a client right now that I'm working with who grandmother kept the dad away from her. And it's only they've connected just in the last year that the real story's starting to unravel. And there's a lot of hurt and resentment now because this story that children play in their mind, uh, and her story was, why wasn't I good enough? Why didn't you come visit me? Why didn't you come and pick me up? But then now knowing that there's a whole nother story to it, and it was grandma kept him away, regardless of the situation. Maybe he wasn't, um, you know, financially a good provider. He wasn't, loving, but just keeping him away, not giving him the opportunity to at least show up as a father. And I have to ask you this question because this is something that has come up just recently as we've been unraveling this. Um, Looking back, do you think your mom did it to protect you, or did she do it to hurt him?
I think she didn't to hurt him because my dad was very, very good dad. After once we met each other, he was there. Like literally, like he would do anything for me. Like he wouldn't give my mom anything like saying for him to get her money or whatever. And no, he would take the show. He was someone who got me into lowriders. If my dad had a lowrider and he would get me up and he me and him over the beach. That money could we can just drive. And he was the one who actually got me into the lowriding cars and the atmosphere and the family like bond with the family, even though they're like all gangsters. I can see now it because they were very family oriented. And like, until that's what really got me into.
How old was your dad when he passed away? Like, did it just happen the last couple of years, or
Yeah, he said it passed away in 2019.
okay?
Was 84.
Even though you guys reconnected later on, how old were you when you guys reconnected finally?
I was 8. I was 8.
Okay, so 8, and then, so was it, um, often, a couple times a year, or
I want to say in the beginning, it was like maybe 3 times a year. And like my mom really didn't let me see him.
okay.
So maybe I need to like that. But my brother used to come. So my brother's mistakes.
Mhm.
Me and my brother was very, very.
So what's if I asked you to think back to dad, what's the one memory that comes to you that just seals that moment of a daughter and a father?
Well, when I was 15, my father took me to a Christian church. And my dad, oh my God, I thought like, oh, it's like, church. And I, there were music and everything. But one thing that I remember, like when I went to that church, I seen like you went through the aisle and everybody was dropping. And I was like so scared, like really even to was baby. I don't know like what was going on. So I ran out and my dad came running up. And it's like he talked to me, told me about us to be like that. I'm sorry. I'm scared. So he never really made me go back, but he would preach to me or something. Something.
Wow.
He was very, very deep into his preaching every day, like 4 times. Yeah. That's why I mean, so yeah.
So
Yes. I mean, that was very strong evidence. So it's
wow.
like, if you're not going to go to them, I'm going to cut you out. But oh my God. I'm
So
telling
the gift of spirituality. So how important was that for you at 15? How important was being introduced to the church and having him preach to you? Like, how did that impact your life then and even now?
well, to be honest, back then I was into Catholic. So it was like, I think it wasn't even the church that you went to religion. It was more my father. Because the way he spoke to me, the way he talked to me, or that literally he knew the Bible from beginning and every verse, every word, everything, like he everything did. He was an alcoholic when he was young, and that Jesus came down to you and told her, talk to him, and that's how he felt drinking. And then ever since then, he just went and started preaching the world everywhere. He was like, that out everybody knew him at the doors. Winslow's Donuts was his spot, and everybody saw me. Danny, the week of Dan, Danny, that's quick. Everybody knew him. We simply it's
Wow.
everything.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. I'm definitely going to come back. Oh, yeah.
And my dad was Richie got into the Pittsburgh. Yeah, but
Really?
like
Wow.
he sang in the garage with him
Really?
for the story. He had pictures of him and stuff. Like he had showed him pictures, his yearbook. So it was like very good to them, great interesting.
That is so cool. And did your dad play instruments too, or he just sang?
The guitar. He sang there. He told, he said, Richie Valens was a township UC, but he's not like, template for now.
Wow. Do you have any of his old recordings?
And the end, but when I moved, we kind of got lost.
Mm.
What is that? That's it. So, but the
Eight track?
no, they're like the record. No, the little square ones. Oh,
Oh,
those.
the
Eight track.
eight.
Oh, they were the ones that you pop in and you turn the cassettes.
Oh, the cassettes. Okay.
I still have his record there.
Wow.
Yeah. My dad used to do it. Yeah, he lived with me for a while. He was an awesome guy. He was very, very spiritual. He was also an Native American, and he's very, very spiritual for sure. And he always spoke about how he went balancing, and I think I have a couple of their records or something.
Wow.
Yeah. By who?
Okay.
This is Angela.
Hello. How you doing?
Better here.
Good, good. Before I go to you guys, I want to go to your daughter. And so I want to have you introduce yourself and then how old are you?
I'm 25.
25. Okay. So and then so your mom just shared a little bit about her story with her struggles with your dad. And I just because it's a cycle that just continues to repeat itself. And I would just be curious to open the mic to you to anything you'd like to share about how you felt growing up as a child. Or did you even know that was going on? That there was a lot of toxicity, or was that just the norm?
So we continued with girls right on. We did my mom for like 2 years. In those 2 years, I've not seen her. But stuff with my dad, right? Um, it's, yeah, it's like, oh, she's so that's um, I don't know if it was looking at my mom. She used to choke at us. She would drown us. For 2 years, we didn't know my mom. I think I was 3. Uh, it was a rough 2 years, not knowing where she was at. I still can remember the day I met her. We'll see her again. I remember that joy. Finally feeling like we were safe. But yeah, with like a sense of relief. Well, we didn't really know my mom was going through addiction. We had it all. We lived with her. We never went without. She never said no. We always had the nice house. That is that we could remember. I don't remember ever struggling. I don't remember not having shoes or not having nice clothes. I just remember always being well taken care of. Um, but as I got older, I realized, like they were both kind of had their defects of character. They were still growing as we were growing. There was always that thing between them that we can really mend something that they have to kind of mend. But in that time, we did suffer. We suffered from, them not being able to communicate or communicate with each other. So we suffered from that. And me, now being a mom, I went to the thing. Wow. My kids got removed from me. I went through addiction. Um, I also was in a gang. It just got repeated itself. So I'm now recovery. I'm in recovery. I'm fighting for my kids, but my dad had kids. So the trauma still kind of continues with my kids. So I'm kind of trying to break that cycle now. It's kind of hard, but hopefully my kids are the ones to kind of really break it on one day. Um, uh,
And then when this was going on, this, physical abuse, at the hands of your mom, did you know that it was happening? Did you question like why? How old were you?
I was like 3, so I didn't really
Oh,
push from. I just, my dad used to tell us that my mom was Oprah's. He used to put it in our head that my mom was like a deadbeat, that she wanted to with theirs, that she'd rather be with Romy than was yes. It was I mainly remember like from the scene her call the phone and he would ignore it because I know she used to reach all the phone a lot because my dad and my stepmom would argue about it. And then they were alcoholics at that time. And they got into arguing really bad. And it was because my dad wasn't letting us see my mom and my stepmom didn't want to deal with us.
mm.
But she had to because my dad was taking us from he took us from my mom out of spite, trying to hurt her. And my stepmom used to beat us because she didn't want to deal with us. So it was rough. But we always knew, like, I mean, as I got older, now I think like my mom saw me more than anyone in this world. And now I kind of see how the tables turn. And my dad was did like think that I used to, think he was, or I used to think he was the one protecting me from someone bad, but in reality, now it's like the opposite, Now it's like I have to protect myself and my kids from him because I'm doing the same thing now, my kids.
Now, you know, this cycle you went through with your mom. Now your mom, you see she stepped up for you. She's there for you. Um, have you ever sat down and had these deep conversations with her and just forgiven her?
Yeah. I don't think completely. We have had like kind of like deep talks for like I do tell her like I appreciate her. Um I think it wasn't until like maybe 2 years ago that I kind of really opened up to her and allowed her to be in my life. Um that's kind of when I got sober. I had to lost my mom. Like I feel like I'm a little broken. I live with her again. She's kind of like my full support, my aunts. Like yeah, I did forgive her, and she was young, and now I know what it's like to be a young mom. I know what it's like to go through addiction. I know what it's like to be a single mom. I stress, and kids are expensive. So now I know what it's like to be in her shoes.
You know, I just felt called to share something with you. Uh, my dad wasn't there for me growing up, and we've only started healing our relationship in the last couple of years. But something that I've come to realize, and a lot of this has been because my transformation could have happened without sitting with plant medicine, ayahuasca and mushrooms and wachuma. Where I've went and gone into the jungles and sat with plant medicine to go back and relive the trauma and heal it. And that's where my heart opened because I hadn't cried in like 27 years. I rolled my house like fucking Hitler. Okay. Um, but what I've come to realize is that, as children, we have these expectations on how we want to be loved, how we want to be held, how we want to be spoken to. And we look at these TV shows, the Brady Bunch, the Cosby Show. We look at movies and we see these beautiful families. But the reality is that's all a facade. And then so we put these unrealistic expectations on our parents, but the reality is our parents and really listen to this. Our parents only love us the way they were loved. And a lot of times when we get upset, I was so angry with my father, but when I really stopped and think about it, you know who the real anger should have been with? It should have been at my grandfather and my great great grandfather, because that shit started with them. It's that ancestral lineage that passed on. How could my father ever love me when he was never shown love? And I'm not saying that that's an excuse, but what I'm saying is that a lot of times it's that lineage that's passed on. And I'm sorry, I'm silencing this phone. Um, it's that lineage that's passed on from generation to generation. And we hold this hurt and pain at our parents. And yes, rightfully so. We're not, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? We're not condoning the behavior that they did, but what we're doing is we're acknowledging the fact that, hey, you didn't show up for me, and the way you treated me was not okay. But I'm also gonna be a little bit understanding that you couldn't love me if you weren't loved. So I just wanted to share that with you because that's a journey that I've been on. So my question for you now is, how's your relationship with your dad right now?
It's not the best. But I do. I mean, we still have like a strong relationship. Because he does have my kids. Um, and when I was going through my addiction, my dad was there. I think with my mom, I kind of pushed her away because I knew she had one of her addiction phase,
Okay.
but my dad dealt with my addiction. My dad, that's what he knows that because he did it firsthand. He my kids in, um, and he dealt with it. He put me in rehabs. I would get high in his backyard, and he knew it, but he just wanted me home. So I think now, like the only time we ever butt heads is because of my kids. But I also think because I'm mad that he wants to, in a way, kind of protect my kids, because I don't feel like he's protecting them from me anymore. But I do understand it. I really understand. I wasn't the best mom these last 3 years. I know I was a mess to them, and if it wasn't for him, who knows? Right now they have stability. He's changed as a man. Now with my grandkids, I mean with his grandkids. They're stable. Like my old teacher, more, he's always winning awards. My dad preached, they have like a close bond. So like when I see my dad bond with my kids, those resentments kind of go away. Like I kind of bury them and I don't think about them anymore because I like him playing outside with my kids or him doing put into it does. And it's a beautiful thing to play with, your grandkids. Find all the other stuff about, me wanting my kids. He has this beautiful relationship with them and they go outside and they plant and hair. They just do stuff that I didn't get to do with him as a kid. So it's cool to see that. I forgive both of my parents for stuff they've done to us, but it's not until he involved well, I get involved with my kids that all that goes away because then you think like, you know, they didn't know how to really be perfect parents. There is no perfect parents. So it's cool to see them bond with their graphics that kind of like change how the person they are. They're really sensitive now to their graphics. To us, I mean, they weren't as sensitive. My dad's a very serious guy, but to his grandkids, he becomes this like butterball. Oh, we have like a strong relationship. Um, I think he wants what's best for me now that I'm older and he sees me doing the stuff that I have to do to get my better. But again, those resentments as a little kid does kind of come back here and there. But I also do know a lot about my dad. That's growing up. Uh, he wasn't loved. He didn't have his dad was a bad person. The way his dad he very way. Uh, it wasn't a good situation. So I could understand why he just felt the need to write, or I would pick up and I'm a need. As far as like the relationship, I mean, that's why I don't feel comfortable with it, but if that's what makes it happy, our parents deserve happiness after a certain time, we all have their families. And I feel like our parents deserve to like fighting at that peak. Like, okay, now why let me move on? And I think that's why he's trying to fight himself right now. He's trying to kind of move away and do his own thing. So it's cool to kind of see him like one of my parents, like you grow with them. As you get older, you see them. Now I adore my parents. Like I think they're cute when they dance or like moments where like I get a joke with them and it's just feel like all this stuff that happened as a kid, you understand it because like it's just cool to see them get old. I think it's a beautiful thing. It's just kind of sad, like the moment we dance and I'll give her like nicknames or we bond now and it's like genuine happy, like I feel like happy. And that's all you have to live in the moment, you can't just dwell on the past. It's like I said, I put my kids the same way my parents are me. And it wasn't intentional. It was something that just happened because I didn't know how to go through life with the events that had place. So I completely forget about my parents. I love them both and but I want them around in my life no matter what.
You know, this hits me hard. And let me tell you why. My youngest daughter, she's 20 years old now. So she had a baby when she just turned 18. So I have a granddaughter now, and I always said, she's going to be the source of our healing of this family because we were a broken family. And so I posted something not too long ago. So her name's Bella. And Bella is like, I'm the father, grandfather that my kids never got. Okay. And I posted something just in the last week or two. And I put, oh my gosh, it's a do over. And woo, that triggered some, let me tell you, that triggered a shit show. Okay. That sparks, ah, there was some anger. And I didn't see it until the mom talked to me about it and said, wait a minute, your kids are looking at this and going, you're now showing up for your granddaughter and you forgot about them. Because even though they're adults, my daughters are 20, 22, and 27, 28. They still need you. And I forget that. I forget that because now we have this new baby. And so I'm going and I'm just trying to be the best dad slash grand. And even though, my granddaughter, her dad's in her life, but I'm trying to now, in my mind, make up. It's like redemption. And that's probably a lot of what your dad's doing is that redemption through your grandkids. Is he's trying to make up for what he didn't show up, how he didn't show up for you. And really, really sit with that because I'm going through that right now. And now having to have these uncomfortable conversations, and then trying to not create jealousy because I think there's some jealousy there.
Yeah.
And I'm just talking about myself, but just seeing your smile, I can see that, uh, there's jealousy and that's okay. But also remember this. And then I'm gonna go to the next person. But as a former piece of shit dad, a narcissist, someone that didn't show up, you know why I didn't show up? My reason for not showing up is because I was scared. I didn't have the emotional capacity to deal with it. I didn't know how to love. I didn't know how to verbalize love. I didn't know how to show connection or emotion. And I'm not saying that that's an excuse, but my crutch was alcohol and work. And that's what sucked me away. I had an addictive personality. So had I touched drugs, I would have went to the end because I'd go all in. But it was alcohol and it was a workaholic. And that is what sheltered me away from not stepping in and being the father and the man that I needed to be in my house. So I just, want you to sit with that as you continue to work on healing the relationship with your dad, and especially because he has your kids. I'm starting to see that it looks like it came from a place of, a goodness. You were not in a good place, and he went and he saved, your kids. But just know that the real healing starts sometimes as parents, and I'm going to say as a father, sometimes my greatest teacher are my children because I've waited for so long for my dad to call me. Well, why don't you call me? Why don't you call me every week? Why didn't you check in on how I'm doing? But then I realized, like, when am I going to stop keeping score? When am I going to stop letting my ego and pride get in the way? And why can't I pick up the fucking phone and call him? Why can't I call it? And why can't I reteach him? Why can't why can't I show him how I want to be loved? And that's a challenge I'm going to put out to you is if you know how you want to be loved, if you know how you want your dad to show up for you, whatever that is, then maybe it's time that you now take control of the relationship and stop waiting for your dad and all the struggles that you've gone through and the addiction and just the turmoil. Now it's time for you to step up and say, you know what? I need my dad, and this is how I need you to show up for me. And you'd be surprised. And a lot of that is it takes putting the ego aside and putting the pride aside. And like I said, sometimes people are ready to do that. And it's taken me a long time to get to that point where I'm now willing to be open to embrace a relationship because I don't want to be disappointed again. I don't want to be disappointed, but even more so, it means that I have to be vulnerable because I'm sure that with all this you've gone through, I'm sure you've stepped into your masculine. You're probably more in your masculine than you are in your feminine because you don't feel safe. And there has to come a point where you put that guard down. You let that guard down. Because for a woman to live in her masculine all her life, it sucks.
It's tiring.
It's tiring. And I'm sure you can look around at your family, your aunts, your mom, and know that the only reason a woman's in her masculine is because they don't feel safe. And if your job is to not, if you don't want your kids to go through the same thing that you went through, then it starts with you. It starts with you changing that ancestral lineage. It starts with you now showing up as the best version of yourself, whatever that is. And it's a journey, and there's going to be hiccups along the way, and there's going to be bumps and bruises. But it's time for you to step up and take on the responsibility of the most important job that a woman can have, and that's being a mother. And any way I can help you along the journey, I would love to coach you on that and embrace you into and I would love to help guide you on that if you're open to that. Because I think the most important thing is rebuilding that connection and healing because you're so young. You're so young. And the hardest calling that you can have is that calling that I'm going to be the one to break that toxic cycle in my family lineage. Because if you don't do it, the kids are going to be in the same place 15, 20 years from now. And they're going to be telling your story. And I don't think you want that. So, wow, this is going to be an intense one. Yeah. So, how are you? Introduce yourself and tell us you're the PR person. You're the yeah. Next. Shoot.
Uh, I'm 41 years old. I grew up in a two-parent home, but it wasn't that. I wasn't better off. They were both drug addicts, alcoholics, abuse, physical, verbal, all of it. So it's, bare minimum baller. That's why I see the similarity and why I let him pray where I put up in bare minimum. Being bare minimum is never enough for anybody, especially if you went home that I was. I was walking around with my soul that bends, soliding, seeing where we can eat. And the reason we went to school was because we wanted to be, hung out with their friends, and have a good home. It's the similarities. It's not only just parent or the father seeing in the actual home, it's also selling and being a father. Because if you're doing bare minimum as well, it's really not helpful. Because then the mother also it's her, and take over your I want. I'm totally great. I did go through a lot of abuse, but she was the one that made sure the bills were paid. You know, if we needed to go get food, she was the one in line and getting the food. She would get Section 8. She would want to make sure he was there. We needed help paying the light bill. She was the one out listening. So it doesn't, to me, it's not just having a parent there. It's also, you both have it. Well, but when my marriage, I tried not to do the same thing and or show them this world abuse, but it was still there. So, and I met in 23, I'm grateful for this one, since they embraced me. They brought me into the car. They essentially adopted because when I left my husband, I basically lost my whole family. It was like, I'm the one getting the divorce, but they're all mad at me because I know, like, the narcissist. So, when the narcissists buddies each other and they all do their little lives and spin their groups and all that bullshit. What are you going to do? I'm grateful for my dad and I'm grateful for her mother, her best friend. They're all my family now. But it really depends on the man and them stepping up. Then, even as now, the older boys are, they go to school and definitely powerful to be daughter. I ended my marriage because I didn't want my daughters. I don't want to set a bad example. Like boys, they already saw. They already know what not to do. They already think like that. My oldest son, he said, if this is what love looks like, I don't want. I
Wow.
never want that. So, like, the things come out the big mouth, his mouth really does way too much, in a sense. So when I started putting my habit and the down cross, I had to step up because if I didn't do it, my daughter was going to fall into the same. I definitely don't want that. The growth weren't there. It wasn't our fault. It wasn't like all of that. He was a good father, but it then so compared to why that far doing the paramedical, you know, it's still not enough. It's
It 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 comes back to that when you don't have an emotionally safe house, it's just as bad as the trauma. Just
and it's not nowadays trying to do the old roles. What is it? What do they call you? Married parent. Like you know, it sucks. But he was there. He was there for the kids. He was just like a bad husband. That's don't want that example at all for your kids at all. So it does in a cycle. So I put up with a lot of shit because I thought that's what my example was. So I did the same. They never saw the abuse, but it was there. And they did see and hear the verbal abuse, mental abuse, and stuff. You know, when you try to drive somebody through your arson, it was what year they're going to follow too. So they keep up a lot of bad habits, and it's been hard to try to get them away.
how many years were you married before you finally made the decision to separate
Married,
or
maybe
together?
together 23.
23 years, okay. And then the whole 23,
A couple of times and tell her like, hey, I want to go. And she was the one that was like, gotta tough it out. Like, put it with it. You have to work through it. Like, my mom was the reason thing. She was the reason I paid because it was your job. My job was to keep my family together.
okay,
So,
okay, hold on. This is powerful. Okay, so what is your because we're still stuck and you know, as time passes, you know, our grandparents and great grandparents are passing because so the times are changing. But you brought something up that just hits a chord is that your mother said you need to stay there and keep the family together. Okay. So regardless of all the toxicity that was going on, you were with someone that was a narcissist. What is your message to mothers out there who have kids and they're preaching to their kids? No, you have to stay in the marriage because Catholics don't divorce, or it goes against our religion, or Latinos don't get divorces, or all this other shit that goes on that they put up with abuse and rapes from their spouses and infidelity and all this shit, but they stayed there because you don't break a family apart. So, what would you tell someone that's going through it right now and they're being fed by it could be either their mother, grandmother, aunt. No, 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 no. In their ear, you can't leave. You can't break up the family. Oh, what about the kids? Oh, how are you going to survive? What is your message?
Their sanity is more important. Your mental health, number one. Your mental health isn't good, then there is no way kids' mental health is gonna be okay. Like, even if the kids didn't like get abused, stuff like that, that all of this shit is like it's a trickle effect. Like I was so depressed for so long. I growing up my whole life, I've had suicidal tendency. I tried to commit suicide the whole time. And then but I was to the point to where I was begging for therapy, begging for therapy, trying to get there. Therapy, tell my doctors I'm in therapy or I need something to help me get out of bed for years and years and years. Nothing. Finally, right before Rona, got into, but no, not into therapy. It just gave me depression. So what is it? Like, go crack.
Yeah.
All I was, so all I did was put up with more bullshit, roll it off my shoulder. I was here and I didn't. Yes.
Yeah.
But I wasn't as involved as I want to be. Because I one of those persons that I want to do it. I can't sit. Like I was taught to sit on my hands growing up, you know, when you're way too much. So and like the more depressed that I was, the less I was. So the kids were trying to sing with the kids and stuff. And I wasn't meant to be there. I was there, but I wasn't meant to be there. So what was the point? Like now, one thing I can make up for it now that my daughter knows is that I when I cook for her and when we have meals. Like that was like one of the main things was like I always cook dinner. We always had to have the meal together. And when I was growing up, we had to wait for my father. We had to wait. He came home. So for Thanksgivings and holidays, when he was doing whatever he wanted to do with whoever he was doing it with, we had to wait so that we would be ready at 11 o'clock.
Wow.
And we would have to wait until 7 o'clock at night, have dinner when he finally himself. Then he could come home to. So when my family was, I tried to have the dinner together, have some conversation and stuff. And I'm always ended up fighting or something, but that's what I tried. Now trying to bring it back as loves that that's how you can take care of his meals and make sure that the bed. So that raise your hand. But what I'm trying to say, does it even if you stay, still impacts your child. Not supposed to argue in front of your kid. If you guys have a disagreement, you settle it and then say, well, pause, children or whatever, if you both aren't agreeing, you walk out, you guys go have a discussion, you need to argue about it, go argue about it when your children are around. But wait this and then come back and then recommend your children stuff like that. But if you're constantly fighting, you guys can't agree or like my friend, like you wanted to be the one that everybody or so I was trying to discipline by myself and if I don't have somebody behind me, especially when the kids get older, like we lose the reins, like once they start expressing themselves, you can't tell your kids to shut up for the rest of their lives or like your input it's not important. You have to be able to discuss with kids. One good thing that my mom implemented with us is that we talk about every from periods, sex, birth control to like every So I did the same thing with children. Kids are no, one in the bathroom, they're right there. They're busting down the door. Well, they see even my boys, like they knew, like that's what you don't have a baby, let them down. Let them down. What's the matter? You didn't we're gonna try again next time. Like my mom one time she was like, "Oh no, I just tell them that I'm waiting for my book." Like, no, mom, but they know before and this area the babies live in. We give them the technical term and I would be like the uterus or the baby house. But I
Let me
know
ask you a question about that because this is something very different. So by being transparent with your kids, by being open, how has that changed the dynamics of your now? How many kids do you have?
I have 3 kids.
Like, how
Two
old are they?
boys, 21
Okay.
and 19,
Okay.
and my daughter's 14.
Okay. And then by being open and transparent and just having that open communication, how has that changed the dynamics of your relationship with them?
It was more like honest. Like I would tell it to, how like Santa Claus isn't real, letting like at a certain age, I would tell them like, do you want the cute answer or do you want the grown up answer? You are now
Sure.
at the age where, and then too, you don't want them to learn about that. Their friends and stuff were poor. That a lot of that stuff is unrealistic. You know what I mean? So like, you always want your kids to be able to come home and talk to you about any go any of my children into abusive relations. I want them to be able to come to me, but I'm going to counsel them different.
Yeah.
So before the before I talk about the abuse or showed up with that guy and over that guy, I lost him to the for all of that was the same.
The communication. So now they're able to come to you because they have that guy, they're in an abusive relationship. You have that open communication. So
Okay,
you're gonna
so
speak to them differently.
before the abuse was known to people, I would always my mother-in-law would say, my son, well, he grew up in a abusive home too, so he saw violence. So she would tell me, if my son ever laid a hand on, I would take your side and I would leave my son out on the street. That's not what happened. So even my husband was, oh, abuse, no. Anybody put their hand on my child, I would beat their ass, blah, 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 like. Then when it came out, was change it into, well, if my children feel that they can work it out, it's so that they can make it okay, then sweet. So, like, totally, it became a hypocrite. His mom became a hypocrite. Like, so it's like, it's all bullshit. But in the end, it was, I would be this perfect wife, perfect daughter, whatever, trying to keep it all together as hard as I can. Spider-Man holding the leg on the tree. And for what? For what? It's all lied about being behind me. He lied about me going to the bar. And my family supposedly was going to have my back. Totally, that your family, your family, right? And all of a sudden, abuse is okay. Now, mind you, the black right came during it. They're trying to brush it off as, oh, no, you don't pass out, black out from, like that's too hard. And we already had that discussion where no, nothing like that was happening. That was the second time where it was like, I had to walk. And the first time, it was, that first time, and that time, there was other abuse, there was other physical abuse, but it was, I had to stand my ground. There was no way I was going to be like, oh, that's okay.
And that's important that you finally set up your boundaries and you took the foot down.
It hit me in a while because my mom was dying of cancer and stuff. So was more nicer, I guess you can say, understanding, compassionate. But then his compassion then because my mom was dying and we couldn't go see her because it was during COVID. But if you're, everybody's not sick, wear masks, you can visit your family, especially if you're dying. He made every excuse for us not to go.
You know what I love about this conversation is the fact that you have this open communication with your kids. And so it sounds like when they ran across issues or struggles, they were able to come to you because you gave them that safe container. I think about how in my household, I was in this machismo, this masculine. If anybody ever touches my girl, I'm going to go over there. I'm going to pick up the phone and make a call. So then what happened in my house was my girls were going through this physical abuse with these toxic relationships. And the opposite happened. They sheltered it from me. Even their mom knew about it because they were afraid of how I was going to react or what I was going to do, and then how it was going to impact the family. So I love
That's all
the
it
fact.
cares about. How mostly that's what it is. That only care about how they're gonna look. If you're man enough, lay your hands on somebody and deal with the consequence.
Yeah.
Like, like that's why I said it's even though like I did shout to my dad a couple times. I did ask for it. That's why when you were saying like reach out to your dad, teach it how to love. That's all I've done my whole life is trying to teach my dad or my husband how to love him. And you can only yell at a wall for so long. When I got violent, and it's true, when you get violent, you no longer give. That's when, like, oh, hey, yeah. All of a sudden, we can do therapy. All of a sudden, you need it. Oh, I got you. Oh, here, let me help. I couldn't do like all of a sudden it was like,
But all that reaching out.
or with my dad.
Mhm.
I reached my boss. We were having a very verbal argument, and he kept like approaching like he was gonna hit me, or like like trying. I know he was drilling to not do it, but if I would have like I did, I was not a person. I really I could have handled my reactions differently, how I talked to him, stuff like that. I tried all of it. Like I did what the shouting matches that I involved growing up, trying to defend myself, trying to like
What'd you do too?
that I would argue like I would argue back or
No, but what
like
did you do to either break the cycle?
I
With
stopped
you
stop targeting.
Okay.
I paid God for Instagram and TikTok. Instagram and TikTok, like they saved me to realize the signs of a narcissist. And when I was like to prepare to leave the narcissist, to get ready for the thing that the narcissist is gonna throw at you, all of the things that they're gonna try to do. So when I put up my boundaries and I set them up, I everything I could to save the marriage. Everything. Then I was there. Ultimately, all of my kids have been in there. So what did the marriage do? Like staying together, putting up with the bullshit, going and like all of that. What did it do? My kids are in therapy.
So where you
What,
at now?
what's the point of me playing, being miserable?
So tell me about the present. So where are you at now? So there's not a relationship. So tell me about the present. Because it's the past no longer serves you. So tell me where you
Yeah,
at.
right. So I left in 2023.
Okay.
Right. The beginning.
So how are you doing?
I get them.
Okay.
I sleep. Like I couldn't sleep before. Was like all night.
Okay. So here's another question. How are your kids doing? So how are your kids doing?
It took a while. Can sleep. Like we all like. I used to be so afraid of the dark, but I've had that since I was a child. Growing her, being afraid of everything, and then your mom. Like oh, you know, and I could see ghosts and stuff like that. So it didn't happen. When your mom's trying to scare the shit out of you just to get you to do shit
Yeah.
or behave. So now I'm not afraid of the dark. Now it's because like I'm running into something. But before, if you turn off the lights and there was no light, and I would, even as an adult, I would scream because I couldn't see. And
So is it safe to say now that once you took control of your life and once you put yourself first, that the healing started for you?
the healing in me started during the end of the marriage because I used to weigh 245 pounds. So, and then my mom died during COVID from cancer. I lost her during cancer. So I had to learn how to eat properly and hit you like this. Like, what am I doing? I couldn't.
But my question is, so once you put yourself first, so once you put yourself first, that changed your life.
Oh, that's totally cheap.
That-
It wasn't like, oh man, I'm trying to get a new man. And I'm able to breathe it without, what, like I wanted to, but like my head is so clear now. I don't do, antidepressants. I don't marijuana every once in a while. But allow then because I do have anxiety, so how depression all the time, like especially when the monthly hits, like depression right there. What?
Like I said, congratulations on your journey that you finally broke that toxic cycle. And now you're focusing on not only healing yourself, but then, what's going to happen from that is you're going to see your children start the process of healing and your family and friends.
So I want them to be able to come to me and tell me like that they're going through. I will advise them, everybody can get a second. First time shame on you, second time shame on me.
Yeah.
Third time, we gotta read the Bible. It's that, they probably can advise because I have cousins now that are in abusive relationships. And I've advised them to be, their mothers have advised them to be, their friends or our family have advised them. But they're not going to leave until they're ready.
Exactly.
They tried it.
Yeah.
But what everybody understands too is don't wait till you get the black guy and all that. Like don't wait for all of that. Just you gotta go away as soon as you start seeing the bags there. There's so many times now that I look back where I was like, I should have left. I should have left. I should have left that.
Yeah.
And because I was so hey, my mom
But the most important thing now is to no longer live in the past and to be in the present. You left, and so now it's about the present. Not even about the future. It's about living in the present.
Not for both of us being trying to be there for our kids. No, he's in therapy now, right? I do my therapy off and on. I go to it when I teach it. So it's more now just trying to communicate with each other.
Perfect.
In his mind, we're gonna try to get back together, but if I can go, all you can do is try into therapy and move on, heal each other, and the dad's for the kids no matter what.
Yeah.
Like you don't treat your spouse right or your parents right or your family right, then how are you?
So thank you for that beautiful share. So who do you have next to you? You want to share anything? You want to share? Where'd you grow up at? And then, let's dive a little bit into, what life looked like for you.
I grew up in between Simi Valley and Sacramento Valley. Simi Valley when I was young, when I was a child, and then probably like around on to like 12 years old to Sacramento. I grew up in a two-parent home. Doesn't necessarily mean it was good. A lot of abuse, a lot of spousal abuse between my mom and my dad. It never happened in front of us, but the arguing and a lot of stuff. My mom shielded us
from the daughter side,
Mm.
but her and my dad were very tough, like very, very tough together. And they were married when they were very young. I think my mom was like 17 when she got pregnant with me, and my dad was like 18. They got married because my grandma said that's that's what you had to do because they were raised in a Christian home, like in a Christian environment. And my grandma went to church a lot. So she told my mom, like, oh, well, now that you're pregnant, you have to get married to, you know, to your spouse. And my mom didn't want to. Like, she always told me, I never wanted to marry your dad. Your grandma made me marry me, And with that came a lot of spousal abuse and stuff like that. And like I said, we never saw it, but we heard it, the arguing. And, kids are not dumb. You could try to hide stuff from them, but they know. You know, we knew. And then I was like around 13 years old. They split up and they got divorced. So my mom went her way with us. I have two siblings with 3 girls, and my mom went her way with us. And then my dad um, got a girlfriend and moved away. Um, I was 17 when I had my first child, um, and I split up with her dad because of physical abuse. But it stopped there because he hit me one time. I went back. Rubber
Wow.
glove. Never went back.
Wow.
Never. Not to my daughter would be 26 years old. Never did I ever go back to that. But in between, yes, when we had the split up, I was pregnant with my second kid, but that didn't hold me back. I never went back to it.
Okay, I got to ask you a question because that's powerful right there.
Yeah, that's the break that's like going there. Yeah.
I know you experienced it in your household, even though the physical didn't happen in front of you. You could hear it. What made you decide that if this ever happens to me, I'm out? Like, help me with that because that right there is powerful for other women that are either going through it or that the patterns of behaviors and when we're with someone and it's just a matter of time before it's going to happen. So what was it that just clicked that touched me? I'm gone. And I'm
It
fucking
was
serious. I'm not even joking. You know?
wild. It was the fear. It was the fear of when we would hear my mom, argue with dad or my dad argue or fighting on. Um, I think it was more about fear. And that's why I vow, like I always said, like when I heard my kids and then, being a daughter, have a daughter first, I was like, I'm never gonna let that happen. Kid, like I don't want her to have that traumatizing fear that we found. And it wasn't just on my and I always talk with my friend about it too. It wasn't just my dad. It was my mom too. She liked to roll with the punches. And instead of her, protecting us from that, like she's still with my dad. She's still with my dad. And like I said, it wasn't just a one thing. My mom, like, my mom was in the mix a lot too, and a lot of arguments were because of her too. And that's one thing where in between the split, the parents are always trying to make kids like, oh, and make the kids sometimes feel bad because, oh, well, you have to love your mom more than your dad, or you have to love your dad more than your mom. And it's not actually like that because when you grow up and you realize, hey, we're both at wrong. I'm not gonna hate my dad because my mom talked so bad about him, but it was her too. And that's a lot of abuse too, because trying to, make the kids side and go on different sides and everything like that when reality is not like that, you know?
Your story, it reminds me of a movie that I seen a couple of weeks ago. Have you seen this movie?
I think I know what you're talking about.
It Ends With Us.
My daughter went to see that.
Have
Yeah,
you seen it?
I haven't.
You have to go see it. By the end of this weekend, you have to go see that movie, and then you have to reach out to me, and you have to go see that movie. That's your story right there.
We're not very self-sensitive.
Oh my God.
Powerful. So
Oh my God.
because that's going to be empowering because the
Yeah.
story right there, that's your story. That's your story. And I'm going to challenge you to get out there and go see that movie.
And more like her.
You know,
More like her.
what what advice would you give to someone that's in a relationship that's struggling with abuse that you've seen as a child? So, and actually, let me change the question. What advice would you give to the parents that are in abusive relationship right now and the impacts that they're having on their children? So either mom tolerating dad's abuse or tolerating mom's abuse, and it's happening, and they think they're hiding it from the children, but they're not. What are they doing to their kids?
They're actually really causing a lot of trouble because a lot of people stay stuck in relationships because they feel like, oh, it's okay, we'll just hide it from the kids or whatever. And like I said, kids are not dumb. But in reality, it's like, how would I say it? A miserable parent can't love their kids.
Mhm.
They can't love themselves enough to get away from that. Because how are you gonna love them if you can't love yourself enough to respect yourself, to not put up with that, not to let a man hit you, not let a man, cheat, lie, and and just knock you down. Like you're showing that you're a reflection to your kids can see it, they're gonna say, oh, it's okay, my foot ever say that. Oh, it's okay, it's okay for this man to treat me like this because I'm not put up. And when it's not, it's not okay. There has to be some point where we break the generational curse. Like I have gone through my oldest daughter, she went through domestic violence. And I was thinking like, I left your daughter because I didn't want you to go through it. And she hid it from the family. She hid it from the family because she was scared because she didn't want nothing to happen to him, like this stuff, whatever. And and but the guy, she's not with him no more, but the guy killed my grandchild. He held my grandson and my daughter hostage for like 3 days. And I get a phone call and from the Ice police station, and they asked me to look at my daughter. And I was like, well, what happened? What's wrong with my daughter? Like, can you guys just come right? So I went to the house. When I went to the house, we had handcuffed outside. And my first instinct, I just felt my hair, my blood, my anger, everything. I looked at him and I was like, "Stop it. Hold on." I walked upstairs and there was police inside the room, my daughter, and the police turned around. He walked in front of my daughter to the point where I couldn't see her because she was sitting down. And he's like, "Ma'am, daughter's very fortunate. She's fine right now." I was still like my mind, my emotions, everything was like running wild. And when my daughter got up, she had stab wounds. We got arms and on her legs, white marks on her face. My daughter is a very light complected girl, and these bruises were like, hey, small, why here, that. And he tried choking the baby. The baby was only less than a week old. And she pressed charges on him and everything like that. So, he went to jail and everything. And now she's a Christian woman, single with her kids. And that generational curse, thank God it got broken. Yeah. They want to go through that. And I would always just hit myself on the butt. I was like, wait, I love your dad. So like, you wouldn't go through that. And it's, it happened, so I mean, now she's aware. Now she won't put up with anything, Now she's just eyes wide open and everything like that. But it's just like it's hard because we cannot choose a spouse for our kids. They, no matter what, we can talk to them to watch new in the face, till we can't have no more voice. They're still gonna feel what they want, and they're still gonna go through whatever is gonna happen because they want. They don't want to hear from mom. They don't want to hear from Tia Gina or Tia Lupe or Tia back here. They're gonna go through it, And the thing is, just know that my word to women out there is, don't think that you're doing something better for kids. Staying in a miserable relationship, you be miserable yourself. Because your kids need a happy mother. Kids need a happy family, a happy surrounding, a happy home. It's okay if you're single. I did it with 3 kids. She did it with kids. She did it with her kids. She's doing it with hers. It's not something that's on the world. It's how you, as a person, deal with it. If you're gonna sit there, oh, I'm single, I'm a single mom. No, but at work, buy for kids, do whatever. Yeah, maybe we may get lonely sometimes, but you know what? Look at them kids. Them kids need you more than anything. They're happy. They're not sitting there running in the room when that kid's back because he's in the bathroom or he's having stuff around and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's okay. Live in your house by yourself. Ain't nobody just bend the door but you. But try to change that, Try to change that. And a lot of women don't know how to be single. They do not know how to be by themselves. But that's where you need to work on yourself. And you become a better mother. Kill.
Wow. I'm so glad. One, I'm so glad I ran into you guys because this is turning out to be a very, very powerful episode. And as we're going to get close to coming to an end, but what I'm starting to, because now I do want to talk a little bit about the car club, but it was important to understand the dynamics behind it, to understand the stories behind it. Because now when I think of family empire, car club, I don't think it's a car club.
You're gonna think it's trauma.
Yeah. Look, it's right here. Tell her mom.
Yeah, I think it's even more beautiful. I think it's Howling frickin' women's group that's saying like, we can hold our own. We don't need a man. We can start a car club if we want. We can do it just as good as you guys and probably even better. Because what bonds all of you, in addition to, like I said, some of you blood related, what bonds you is the experiences, the trauma, the hurt, the pain, the abuse. But now it's the healing.
And I say something.
Absolutely.
Because I went for 17 years and my default voice in my state quiet. Nobody knew that I was being abused at all. I kept it to myself. But when I finally just spoke out and then everybody nobody knew. I wasn't lying. My mom said the same thing to her. And my mom told me too the same thing as I used to tell her, don't leave. That's your family. You need to stay. Your kids are going to grow up. And I just stayed because I wanted my kids to have a father. I didn't have a father. But it wasn't worth that. More than torture.
And what would you tell to someone that's in secret in an abusive relationship? So now looking back, 17 years later, what would you say to them? Because there's women watching this podcast right now that are going through that. I can guarantee it because I see the DMs that come in and hundreds of them that come in on a daily basis, just all different messages. So what would you say to that woman that's been in hiding for the last 5-7 years? They don't want their family to know, maybe not even their kids to know. They don't. What would you say to someone that's stuck?
Speak out. Let them know what you're going through. Because if you don't do it, nobody's going to help you. Nobody's going to be. You need to voice what you're feeling and what you're going through. Because there's at the time that when you really want them to help you, they're not going to help. Because they're not going to believe. That's exactly what happened to me. My family, to my husband. Her mom, my mom, they loved him so much that they did not believe that I would. Oh no, not here, not here. I grew up in spirit, and it was bullshit. My mom saying, "You fucking lying." Sorry, She's like, you're, oh, they would never do that. Cool, like, I know.
Absolutely.
All of you women and men, and men also go through it. Um, you know, get your kids and get the hell out. Don't look back, because if you have the chance to do it, do it. Some people say because you want to keep your relationship, you think it's going to work out, you're doing it for the kids, you're harming your kids. I'm speaking with experience. I harmed my kids. When I did voice, I say, don't even try to get the help you can. Try to get, there's a lot of,
Resources.
there's someone out there, yeah, there's a lot of resources out there. Um, Tell someone you can trust. You can go to your church, you can go to the station. You're not a snitch. Not a snitch if you're protecting your children and protecting yourself. Do it and get out, because I remember I would tell my mom, and my mom's like, oh, you're doing something wrong. Oh, he would never do that. He's a good dad. And so I did a lot. Oh, I didn't tell her how he used to hit me. I used to break my furniture, how my kids, were sitting by the glass people that just broke and I could have cut them. What I did is I shut down and I sucked it out and took it for years. And the day I left, I was called a hoe. I just want to be a hoe. That's what you want to do. You just want to be a hoe. And it's like, I'm going to get out because I'm losing it here. I don't want to, like my kids are putting danger every day. They didn't know that. I up and left. I had to hide. I had to stay in hotels. He used to stalk me. I went from the valley all the way to West Covina to try to get away from him. But because we had that circle of friends, he would always find out where I was at. So no matter what I did to get away, he was right there behind me. But I kept eating and I kept taking off, like I would grab my kid and go stay at another hotel. So, and I did whatever I could to sustain us, Dan took us. And like I said, back then there weren't that many resources like there are out there now. There's, domestic violence shelters. There's, just look in your area, get the help from somewhere. And even the police stations have, numbers that they can give you to,
Wow.
Can I say something?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's also the thing when men brainwash as girls, and us girls are very vulnerable, especially when it comes to the man that you love, the man I feel like you can't separate from. The famous words, nobody would ever love you. Nobody would ever let you toward kids. The damn lie. There's men out there, good men, that will accept you and kids, and that's always important with kids first, no matter what. But that's something that traumatizes a woman, because you go on in life thinking, oh, I'm going to stay with nobody else is ever going to want me. Nobody else is ever going to want my kids. You're not there, But believe me, girls, there's always somebody out there.
and even if you stay single, have fun, whatever, do your kids, grandkids, and thank God every day that you're alive and you made it that far.
We're going to court here. We're going to court.
It's a beautiful flat-eyed trauma engaged on wheels. So let me ask you girls a question. So what is the vision for Family Empire Car Club? So you guys have lowriders?
Yeah.
Okay. And you guys go to the car club. So what is your vision now? So now understanding the backstory and knowing that the Family Empire Car Club is deeper than just a car club. It's a support group. It's an empowerment group. It's a survivor group, not a victim. You guys aren't victims. You guys are survivors. And so what is the vision with it now? Who can join? Is it only women?
No.
No. Okay.
I hope that we had men in before. Right now it's women.
Okay.
But we did have men in the club. To start when we first started, there were men. There was, like in every aspect, like it doesn't necessarily only have to be a car club. It could be in a group of friends. There's always that running apple. So we did have a running apple, and it was like, oh yeah, they know it's because I was the president. That she knows everything, and it's like okay, women already go through that in life, where it's supposed to be, men are supposed to be superior, and this and that. I didn't put up with it. I was like, you know what? You don't like it? Get out. We don't need you here. We don't need that rotten apple. And so a lot of the men, that there were two other men that left. They actually left because not because of us. They left because they didn't like that, what they were hearing. So anyway, we we had the last two guys that left. They're like, well, when your girls' cars are ready, we'll join in. I was like, no, you're not going to talk about them like that because it doesn't matter what kind of car they have, where they're at in their car. That's their pride and joy. It doesn't matter if it's not ready right now. Eventually, it's going to run. And, I wasn't going to put up with that. That's abuse. That's mental abuse. Like, how am I even allowing to talk shit about my girl? They're in their cars, they're in progress. Some of them are already up, but it doesn't matter. Sometimes we go to events with other cars and we go to represent. We support every car club out there, men, women, children. We have children. We have a bike club. We support everyone. And we've been told by the moderator, maybe some people, you're not supposed to back up or support, like motorcycle clubs. And I'm like, you know what? We support everyone. There are no boundaries. There are no, support everyone. So at this point, yes, there is just women, but we are okay with men if they would like to join. Children, like I said, we have a little bike club. We are also a nonprofit. And we there's a lot more. We community outreach and stuff like that. Also.
Let me ask you a question before I lose this thought. You go to these car shows, and a lot of the women are there. The women of the men, and I'm sure there's a lot of these women, unfortunately, that are in very similar situations. How do they respond to you guys? Because you guys are you guys are just like overflowing with masculinity. Okay, so you guys are just very strong, independent women. And rightfully so. Like, say you wear your armor because of this shit you guys have gone through. But how did the women react? Because usually the women seem to be a little more passive. I've seen because I'm going out talk to them. Oh no, well hold on. You got to talk to my husband. Oh, be on the podcast. Yeah. Oh, So how is your interaction? How do they take to this all women right now car club showing up in this dominant male um industry, so to speak? How do they receive you guys?
So it's okay. A lot of the women, like you said, they're like, oh, well, let me see if we invite even friends. And they're like, oh, well, I have to see if it's okay with my husband or whatever, and it's like, why? We're not living in that era anymore. You can, and people like, will go to like car clubs and stuff. They're always like, oh, you guys look like, they started hanging out with us and they get to know us. And they're like, oh my God, you guys, your vibe is so cool. And then they start opening up. I swear, it's like everywhere we go, we touch someone. Because we're very open with with everything we've gone through. And if we see like, sometimes we're like, I tell he doesn't let her talk. You could tell, and it's like, okay, you know what to do. And we'll go up to them and like, hey, Chia, we'll just talk, because sometimes that's all you need is that one cry or that one smile. That's going to make a difference because these people you can tell the women will look at their husband like, oh shit, like, and it's like, and we make friends. One night we'll have someone tell us about the whole life story and we'll all be crying with them, hugging, and then, now they follow us, they'll message us. It's like, we're out there to make a difference. And even if it's one person that we can touch, that we can give them our experience, we all have different experiences, but at the end of the day, we're all women, we're all strong, we're all survivors. We all have gone through it, still going through it. But if we can make a difference even in one person, that means lots.
Wow.
Mentor. They're all good mentors. Like a good example of those, like without them, I don't hold myself together. Like instant, like they back you up. We're experienced, they know like smart, like with the nonprofit foundation that she has, like those are cool, inspired. Leave homeless because her kids have backpacks for school and their supplies. Like I grew up going going to car shows and getting backpacks, getting shoes and clothes and like praying that, hey, maybe we'll get like time. Like it's is it's perfect. Like the things that they do when find concept. Like so for everything to happen happens in certain steps and certain ways, certain times in your life. Like it's so perfect. It's exactly what I needed. Like I meant out wholeness, like all do it. Like get our kids. And I still read that $5 bill that somebody gave to them because they got a good rate. My kid would want to give them $5 out. I mean, no, keep your money, earned it. I'll my $5 for you.
Or
Like it's fantastic. Like that do as that, like the nonprofit stuff that we have going on help people.
so with the nonprofit, what's the number one item on your at the top of the agenda that you want to help make a change in or a difference in? What would be the top of the list?
So the top of the list right now is touching all those kids that are lost right now. Not only kids, actually, we adults and kids. Um, there's kids going through the same traumas that we've gone through. There's adults dealing with whatever they're dealing with, and what we're working on right now is like trying to get grants and funding for a vocational training school so that we can teach these kids instead of them being out in the street, come here, learn how to work on cars. If it's not on cars, we also try to help them, print shirts. We have a gardening business. We also try to teach them how to garden, like how to garden, but landscaping, anything. It's to teach the kid. We always talk to these kids and tell them, can't always blame your parents for whatever you're going through. You have to like man up, woman up, and keep going, And we're trying to teach them survival skills. Um, so that's where we're at right now. That's our main thing. We're actually everything we do, we fund ourselves with our own event or fundraising or our own money. We are not funded by anyone, even though we are a nonprofit. We don't have any grants, so we are working on that. But our outlet or, hopefully in the near future is to have that vocational training. Also to have a drop-in center that someone needs to come and eat. They want to come and shower, wash their clothes, get resources for, domestic violence, job training, loading for an interview. Want to be able to provide that so that they become a better person, you know.
So when I hear you talking, what it reminds me of like a female version of Homeboy Industries, of just being able to give back, vocational and jobs and so forth. And you know what? Please include me. I'd like to be a part of that journey as you guys continue to finagle your way through. And I know I can offer my team resources as far as helping to build out curriculum and so forth. And I would love to collaborate with you guys, and especially for the kids that are lost, but even for the women, that are sitting there. And the reason I gravitate more towards the women is because if we can help save the women, and when I say that, I mean that very loosely, because then that's more like the ego stepping in. Oh, to save the woman. No, what I mean by that is if we can empower the woman, then they will save their children. And it starts with them. Yes, the kids are there, but if they're still in the realm of mom and dad, then we need to get to the women. We need to get to the moms, and we need to help start the process of healing them, getting them the resources, letting them know that they don't have to be in toxic relationship, that they don't have to put up with abuse, physical, emotional, or psychological. And when we're able to do that as a collective, then what happens is it just reciprocal. The children get saved. And definitely is something that I would love to be able to help, be a part of, because that's, you know, Fatherhood Voices is the tagline was breaking the toxic cycle. And even though it's called Fatherhood Voices, we actually launched Motherhood Voices and we launched Childhood Voices, because what we realized is that although I was targeting men to try to wake them up, what I realized is in shaking this social media, it woke up the women and it woke up the children. Oh, that's my fucking dad. That's what he does. Oh, this is him. Or the women that are going, oh shit, this is my children's father. Oh my gosh. And so we're shaking that family tree. And I don't know what the future holds for if we're going to change the name or what we're doing. But what we realize is now we've become a platform for healing, for family healing. And if you go back and you look at the different episodes, or you go on to like our website, you'll see we have a lot of free resources out there that we build with podcast guests. And I would love to build some resources that we can give tools where you can have a resource that they can go to and they can click on a page and boom, they can download a 4 or 5 page resource on what do I do if I'm in a toxic relationship, or how do I get out, and just different tools, because the real the real knowledge comes from people that have lived it. We can sit here and talk about, oh, I went to school for 10 years and I learned how to become a therapist to help people. No, those are the fucked up people. Sorry. But the ones that the ones that really can give you help is the ones that have lived it. And I just want to say something about therapy, because there's something that was just presented to me in the last couple of weeks that showed up for me. And I want you to sit with this message as we start to bring this to a close. The reason therapy doesn't work is because it's external. Healing is internal. And the healing starts from within you. And if you want to heal, it's not going to be external. It's going to be going back and revisiting that little boy or girl and playing with them and going back and dealing with each individual trauma point or situation and accepting forgiveness or moving it away, that it wasn't um, your battle to carry, and putting it to rest once and for all. But
Right.
closing thoughts from each person. Would love to hear closing thoughts as we start to wrap it, which is now going to be officially the longest Fatherhood Voices episode we've had. And this will be episode 50 or 51. So, but closing, we'll start in the corner, right corner. Closing thought. What's your closing message? Oh, right at the back. Yes. Closing message. Yes. And we'll work our way through. Yes.
Just don't stay in a bad relationship. Don't stay, especially if there's a lot of physical abuse and mental abuse, verbal abuse, because your kids all that, and they need to be good parents to their kids, and don't know what love is. And they should the cycle will never break. Keep on going. And now, like you said, there's a lot of tools out there. There's a lot of resources where people don't have that. Even back in my time, like there wasn't that much help. But now there is. Now it's like basically like everything there to help here. Now you say you want, but in reality, it's like kids think about it. Always think about it. If there's first,
I love that.
yeah.
I love that. Think about your kids. Closing thought. Yes.
My closing thought is always never stay quiet. Always ask for help, because there's gonna be a day that you're not gonna be able to ask for that help.
Love that. Who's next? Closing thought. Go for it.
Like really, it's the first person or the second person here. So they go to the next. Because my mom, Sandalini, told me to stay, but when I came my hair, he was the one to told you. And somebody's the listen. So the first and the second, don't feel like they held you for anything. Find somebody else. There's more resources. More.
Wow.
Somebody. Yeah.
Thank you. Closing thought.
I think life is too short to bury that burden of her and trauma. So if you can forgive those people who have hurt you, forgive them if they're still walking through. Um, and just love yourself. Put yourself first before anything. Before you have to put yourself before your kids. Because if your mental state is messed up, you're not going to be a good mom. So put yourself first. And when
Closing thought from our president.
My
Let
thought,
me have you move the camera towards. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah.
my thought has always been there's always that light at the end of the tunnel. And if you think that you cannot reach that light, you're wrong. Because everyone here has been there. I was that person and I blamed myself for everything. Everything was my fault in my head. And guess what? It wasn't. Some of it was. But, you have to realize that there's so much out there for you to accomplish. God has you here for a reason. God has a purpose for you. So you need to find that purpose. You need to learn to love yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, you can't love anyone. And the things with your kids, spouse, your family. Sometimes, and yes, therapy is not the only thing that you need in life. You also need God. You also need your family. You need your support system. Work together, work for it. Um, it's not always your fault. No matter what type of trauma, abuse, or whatever you're going through. Like let's say sexual abuse, a lot of people think that it's your fault or they tell you it's your fault and you live through life thinking this, stuff. So it's not your fault. You need to work on yourself, get the right tools that you need to help you be better and always try to get to that lane. And you will, because there's hope. There's a lot of help. And if you ever need to speak to someone, we're all here. You're here, and, any resources that you need, even if you just want to talk, hit us up on Instagram, but wherever.
Yes. Where can they reach you? So, Family Empire Car Club. How can they get a hold of you? How can they reach you? Social media. Go ahead.
Social media, we're under we're under Low Rating with Family Empire Car Club. But on Instagram, we're under Family Empire Car Club. Like I said, you want to talk, you just need a friend, you need someone to listen to you. That might be the day that, you're like, oh shit, she was right. We don't think that. I can't put the words together, but sometimes we think, they're crazy. They don't know nothing. They're just trying to like give themselves a name. No, we don't. You've heard our traumas. This is nothing. We can make like 50 more episodes if you have to. Trust me. But we're here to show people that we can. So I can go on talking more, but that's my.
No, thank you. And as we conclude another episode of Fatherhood Voices, these are some pretty badass women right here. Let me tell you. And I am so privileged to have had the chance to cross paths with you guys. And this has turned out to be a very powerful episode of a journey of sadness, abuse, neglect. But then the journey's turning to one of hope, empowerment, self-worth, love. And congratulations on the future success, because I see this is going to become something very big as you work to empower, I'm going to say women first, and children and others that need help, because even men, there's men in abusive relationships. But I love what you guys are doing, and continue on, because it takes a community to help heal. And through your trials and tribulations and the highs and the lows, You guys are going to be the best resources to help that woman out there or that child that's struggling because you may just see a little bit of you inside one of them. Thank you so much for another episode of Fatherhood Voices.
Thank you very much for having us on here. We appreciate